All right. Um, well, of course, as soon as we've started the broadcast, we've lost our
Maha.
honored guest, Maha. There she comes. She's back again. Great. So hopefully, if you're just tuning in on YouTube watching this, you've been having a great time in the rest of the Innovative Business Models course. And this will be one of the final acts of that course together as a community of learners, and just where this came from and how this came together. As you know, throughout the course, we have been working on different pieces of creating an innovative business model for yourself, understanding both the economic drivers of your business and also going into things like the mission statement, the metric, the monitoring and evaluation plan, dealing with adaptive challenges, marketing strategy, lots of different elements of the business model. And so, as you know, we offered a final opportunity at the end of the course for you to pull together everything that you have learned within this course by creating a business model canvas, which is an excellent resource that you can do on your own at any point if you want to ask yourself some hard questions about how everything is fitting together in terms of the activities you're doing, the customers you're trying to serve, the value proposition you're trying to serve those customers with, who you might want to partner with, what your costs and expenses and income drivers are. It's all Canvas, and it's meant to be an iterative tool that you can use over and over again to test how your business, all the different pieces of your business is fitting together. I myself use it regularly for my own startups or when I'm coaching people on their own startups. And I don't just create one. One of the best ways to use this tool is to create multiple different versions of it and see what you can learn by the different variations that come out. So what would it look like if your business were primarily a real estate-driven business, or what would your business look like if it were primarily a services-driven business? You can test out those hypotheses by using the business model canvas. And we had a number of participants opt to fill out those canvases and send them back to us, and we've enjoyed as facilitators getting to see how things progressed or changed as a result of that. So we picked three different participants from the course to participate in a final Google Hangout to share both their business models and also the questions that are coming up with them as they address them, and to invite some panelists from within or sometimes without the outside the World Bank to come together and work on some of those questions. And the participants we picked had nothing to do with necessarily the people that aced everything in the course. Although Maha did a great job on all the parts of the course, we actually tried to pick a variety of people who could speak to different stages of the business that they're in, and from maybe the
We lost Alan.
Maha Hassan is here today to talk about ESL, Maha ESL training, which serves professional development needs of teachers in Cairo and increasingly around the world too. And we're looking forward to talking about her business model and all of the different aspects of that she may still be struggling with, and hopefully get to some really juicy questions to talk about with her. And without further ado, I'd also like to introduce our other three panelists, Alexandria, Natalia, and Damaris. And I would like to hand over to you all to say a few words, introduce yourselves as well.
Hi, Alan. I don't know if you can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I've been just moving to see if the connection is right. Hi, it's actually really great to see you all. Actually, great to meet you, Maha, through Alan. I know you've done a great job. I've seen your canvas myself, and it looks great. Thank you all for meeting us today. I am Alexandra, as Alan said. I've been coordinating the course, and I'm also one of the facilitators. I'm the facilitator for cohort 3. It's been a pleasure to be part of this course. This is, as Alan said, also our 4th webinar. The series has been wonderful. We've gotten a lot of feedback, positive feedback from everyone. So without further ado, because I know we want to get into these juicy questions, I'll just I think Natalia is next to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Natalia Gapitova. I'm the coordinator for the Development Marketplace program, and the e-course is one of our new offerings. And I would like to especially thank Maha for joining the course, for joining us today. And we looked at our participants' progress with great interest, and lots of team members who were not necessarily moderating the course still paid attention and got inspiration from it. So thank you very much for participating, for your model, and happy to hear from you today. Thanks.
I am Damaris Garay, and I am a part of the team here in DC. I'm mostly working on backstage of the course, but very happy to be here meeting some of the participants in person. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us.
And without further ado, the guest of honor, Maha, we would love to hear a bit of yeah, exactly, a bit of your story, and I would love for you to share a little bit more than the polished story of Maha ESL. We all know that every entrepreneurial story, every venture has some messy bits and some inspiring bits of how something came to be. And I would love for you to tell us a little bit about exactly what it is you're doing, but try to let us know the heart of it, the heart and soul of it for you. Where did this come from? How did this come into being? And where are you today? And we'll use that as a launching point. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and what it is you're doing.
Okay, so how many minutes do I have to speak about this?
About 6 minutes.
Okay, that would be great. So I have been preparing it formally, so I have to get outside. I'm glad to be with you today. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Alexandra, and thank you, Natalie and Damaris. It's great to meet you all, and I've really enjoyed this course greatly. Without too many details, I would like to get into the core of the story. I've been a teacher for about 30 years, and I have witnessed and got in touch with teachers around Egypt in more than one school. I've been a teacher trainer, and I've been a supervisor of English language in more than one place. So I have seen the problems that teachers suffer from, how they lack professional development. Nobody's helping them. It's a matter of personal cleverness. If you are clever, you're going to look for professional development. If not, most probably nobody is going to help you to go ahead. You can be a great teacher. I saw lots of great teachers, but they are not ready for professional development. They believe that they are wonderful since they are doing the business great. They are getting more private lessons. The students like them, so they believe that's the end of the story. But what about the passion of teaching itself? Why should we develop ourselves? We make our students passionate about what we are doing and how we can help affect the future generations to shape their lives and their ways of change, their ways of thinking. As I've always believed, to teach is to touch lives forever. So it's not an easy career. It's not an easy job. Whatever you do will affect people all their lives. So it's not that easy to say I'm a good teacher, full stop. So that's one of the most important things that pushed me further. I have tried in more than one school during 2011, 2012. I moved from more than among a number of schools, and each time the teachers said, we like what you are saying and it's wonderful and we like to apply that. But when you come to the point, actual behavior, you find that they are not ready to do anything or help you around. So we find ourselves getting back again to the 0 point where we started. So that's what pushed me finally to get off this whole story and to continue teaching adults, but at the same time to stop working with schools and get onto this idea of professional development to try to help people see what they are supposed to see. And Alan was highly helpful while we were working on this. He told me at the beginning, while we were working, we used to go to schools, speak to the owners and the principals of the different schools, and try to talk them in the idea of professional development and get us introduced to the teachers so that we can speak to them directly and get them involved. But what happened is that those people tried to get in between us and those teachers. They refuse to get us in direct touch. Either it's a waste of time or they don't want to pay money as usual. So we had to look behind the scenes and we tried to get inside the different schools through personal relationships. We started getting to know people from inside the English departments, and we tried to speak to them and interest them in what we are doing. So we would try to interest the owners or the principals after that. So at the beginning, it was very difficult. It worked with some, it didn't work with others, but we are still working. We are trying to enlarge our scale to speak to different types of schools, different types of teachers around, and try to make surveys to see what they really like in order to attract them first to what we are doing, and then from there we can start speaking, getting them to believe in the idea of professional development. So if I'm going to get back, and this is how we started the whole story. At the beginning, we started with only courses and workshops for teachers giving direct lectures. We found that this is not the only possible practical way to help teachers to believe in professional development. So we started by discussions for teachers weekly. We invited teachers to come to our discussions. They usually asked us for advice about the different problems that they faced in classes, and they said, why not discuss so and so and so. So we started getting deeper into the needs of the teachers themselves. So that when we try to have our teaching club or to have to get in touch with the owners of the schools, we would be able to address the direct needs of the teachers. Maybe this would win the owners on our side or the stakeholders on our side. For the and that, so we had this idea of a hybrid between the profit and non-profit or a project. We started with this profit. We provided paid courses and workshops, and on the other side we had these free discussions, and we had a monthly teaching club. It's for 3 hours. Each month we invite 2 speakers plus myself to give interesting hands-on workshops, and they help the teachers present in to apply what they are going to what they lecture, so they would interest them, and so they would try practically what they have been lecturing before trying to get in class and apply this in their own classes. So far it started at the beginning. It was very difficult, as Alan had discussed this with me before, but it started, some kind of hope started appearing finally when people started getting in touch with us during the teaching club. They got interested in the different ideas that we gave, and then they started applying it in class. One of the teachers was a demonstrator at she studied biotechnology, and she was giving lectures scientific academic lectures to students of the Faculty of Science, and she found that her lessons were terribly boring, and she was fed up. She didn't know how to interest the students who did not care about what she was giving. It was very tough and not nice, until she attended one of the lectures on our second teaching club and about the flipped classroom. Um, on that day when I gave the lecture, I made it flipped upside down. I started with the teachers as if they were students and applied the steps on them, and then I gave them the feedback in the end. She was interested in this idea, so she went and applied it really in class, and she sent me a very surprising mail that it had really succeeded. It turned the class alive finally, and she was having great success and great interest and engagement on the part of her students. This was wonderful. Of course, as a kind of hope started shining, and at the same time another teacher told us also about another idea that she applied. She had taken the idea from the teaching club, she applied also in class, and she said she had wonderful results as well. So this started some kind of hope, some kind of finally we have succeeded in getting the interest of teachers to try to do something, and not just to say, no, there is no way out, not going to succeed, or I don't bother, or I hate doing any extra activity. So it's kind of a little success that gave us a little, shed little light on what we are doing, that even if we start with one or two teachers being interested in what's going on and trying to apply them, they are going to engage other teachers in this, because they are happy about their success. So they are going to start speaking about it to everybody, and this is what we call the butterfly effect, which we expect to start affecting more teachers and attracting more teachers to come to our teaching club. Alan also advised me about this idea about when we to try to speak, to invite teachers personally, and not just to put the ads or speak in general to most teachers around on the page, on the Facebook, on the different social media. So I tried personally to get in touch with the people and try to invite them in different ideas, using different ideas according to the different characters of the people, because I already knew some of them, and it really started working. And last teaching club, we had a number of teachers. They weren't there before. They started coming, they started liking the idea, and they started thinking of how to apply it in their own classes. I started with this practical side because I wanted to show you the effect of working with Alan and working with this course on the thank you, and thank you, Alan, so much for your great advice on the work that we have been doing. One final point before I give you the mic, that we here in our community, we have 3 programs that we follow. We have this idea of the teaching club. We have this idea of networking. We try to contact as many people as possible online. We set different articles, different kinds of posts that would benefit the teachers online. I personally get lots of inboxes concerning different advices about different ways of teaching and problems that the teachers face, and I answer them personally, and this helps more people to get in touch with our page and get more interest in what we are doing. And the third point is the internship, which we have started lately, or what we call incubation. We started taking the senior students of the final years of the colleges of the English departments who would like to work as teachers, or who intend to work as teachers, and we give them training for 3 months in return for very little fees. They attend the weekly discussions. We make a kind of evaluation for their professional development level, and we help them set a plan how to move from one professional level to the other. These are the three main programs that we have at our community. The final point concerning the funding, we are still at the bootstrapping level. We have made plans for 2 years to come ahead, but we are still working on this idea of getting more funds in order to apply the plans that we have for the 2 coming years. For the 2 coming years, we intend to provide professional development for 20 public schools and sustain this professional development, help teachers sustain this professional development, and to have 20 interns to train them, hopefully, and help them sustain professional development. And we are working on another point also, which is recruiting, because some of the schools started asking us to provide them with teachers. So we started tempting the teachers or the interns to work better with us, because we are going to start this idea of recruiting. So in case you are doing well, we are going to recommend you to some schools if you really want to get such kind of jobs with us. That's so far the whole idea. Questions, I'm ready to answer you.
Thanks, Maha. I really appreciate that. You've gotten a very clear...
I have 2 questions in mind, so I would...
I'm sorry, you cut out for a second, Maha. Go ahead, though.
Excuse me? Excuse me, Alan?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Can you see the chat? Maybe I'll type something.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me now. Okay, great. Maha, thanks for the description of everything you're working on. It's very clear to me. Hopefully, it's clear to others because I got some visibility into what you're doing throughout the course. But just in review, repeating back some of the things that you have said. You've been a teacher for 30 years. You were a headmaster of a school, headmistress of a school, and you've seen the needs for professional development in schools. And for some reason, that need is not being met in the existing environment, and you decided to do something about that. And you, like a lot of entrepreneurs, you didn't have one clear that was going to work necessarily. You were trying to find a way to meet that need that you saw very clearly in the world. So you tried approaching schools, and maybe you didn't get many bites there in the beginning. And so then you started working directly with teachers a bit more and started hosting regular events that teachers could go to, weekly discussions, and surveying teachers and putting on workshops. And finally, as a result of a lot of those different things, you're doing a lot more personal recruiting of teachers to participate in these events so that you can show some success stories like the one that you showed us. And I appreciate that. So we get a sense for what kind of effect of the work you're doing we can see when it works. So a teacher can be transformed in a positive way when they've had the experience of participating in the teaching club or the internship opportunities that you're offering, or maybe even just passively from the networking opportunities you're offering online. And you're working towards being able to run programs like these regularly in a sustained way in schools. And you're looking to have a regular coming, like a lot of entrepreneurs at this stage, you're asking yourself, how can I get the funding to be able to grow the programs that I've already seen some effect for? And probably even more important than where's the funding going to come from is the question of how can you make sure that you get really great traction with these people that you work with, and that you show that you have the potential to run a sustainable business model around those programs that you're offering. And that obviously makes it a lot easier to find funding when you know that you can you can offer things that people want and they're willing to pay for it, and it has a positive impact on the world. So I had one clarifying question to ask about that in particular, which was, you've mentioned this internship and you've mentioned teaching club activities, and in your business model canvas, you mentioned that there are tickets for teaching club activities, and you also mentioned that customers are ready to pay for internships and workshops because they cost less than courses. I'd say just a little bit about what the kind of dollars and cents of what you're working on look like a little bit in terms of charging for things and what people you found some willingness to pay for.
Yeah. Yeah, we have this problem with most of the places that are offering good teaching certificates around here in Egypt, is that they are highly expensive. And even people who give one-day workshops, they are not that effective. I've been told by a number of teachers who have already attended some of our workshops and training that nobody ever gets deep inside the idea of training. They usually give us headlines, but they never help us into practical work. They never help us to have hands-on experience. Some people have already got distinguished training, distinguished places, and yet they told me it's the first time for me to ever hear about the things that you are saying. Nobody has ever discussed this with us before. So we usually have the least training course that you can get here in Egypt is about £5,000. Sometimes they say that we have this idea of a TEFL, and it costs about £6,000-7,000, and because it's the season for mid-year vacation, so we are having a discount up to £2,000, and you are going to get the training for 7 weeks. Once a week you are going to attend the session, and you get the training for it, and at the end, and you have to do some assignments, and in the end you're going to get your certificate. Of course, getting to do such kind of study for 7 weeks, and every week you have to sit with the instructor for just a few hours once, this is never going to be highly effective. It's not going to have any let's say direct interest even, or engagement on the part of the teachers. They're going to say, we have it next week. When we come to next week, maybe I can delay the assignment to the week after, and so on. So it's not going to be engaging enough for the teachers, and most probably it's 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't dig deep into practical work, and that's why when we started, we decided to have very short workshops, 3 days, to have the basic ideas, to make sure that the teacher has these basic ideas of understanding teaching. It's not the idea of knowing 1, 2, 3, like, for example, class management, class control, how to make a lesson plan, how the main points. This is not the point, because sometimes we have teachers with experience, but they say, I know all this, this is not what I want. What I want is that how to be a much better practical teacher. That's why we have these short workshops. And even for the courses that we set it for 3 months, but it's into 3 levels, and each level, for each level, the teacher works for twice a week. So they would get hands-on intensive training to get to the core of what we really want the teachers to understand and to do as professional teachers. So these are 2 of the things that we miss in the market over here. One, it's the courses are very expensive, and 2, they are not practical enough to help teachers become better teachers. That's why we have set these short workshops for a very low price, £400 for each workshop, and for the courses, we have the level for £1,500, and if we have a number of teachers, let's say 10 teachers, for example, we have a discount of maybe 25% or something of the sort. The most important idea for us is that the teachers get interested in the idea of professional development and get passionate about this idea. This is the most important thing.
Got it.
I
That's
hope
wonderful.
this answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just want to make sure we have everything on the table, and I have lots of other things swimming around in my head but I would love to. I'm wondering if so. Natalia is the farthest from the direct interactions we've been having of all of us. So you'll be hearing a lot of this for the first time, whereas each of the rest of us might have some higher degree of interaction with Maha throughout the course. So I'm just curious, Natalia, what your first reactions are hearing about all of this for the first time today, and what questions immediately come to you.
Well, Maha, first, congratulations. I think it's a great model. It's definitely one of the areas where we see most need globally. Quality teachers are key for quality education at schools, and obviously they have impacts on the lifelong learning patterns of the students. So it's one of the core development areas for us, and it's fantastic to see models like yours complementing the public education systems and providing more effectiveness and better outcomes ultimately for the students that can have an effect over a lifelong span. I have a few observations, mostly from the perspective of comparing what you're doing with some other models we have in the portfolio. One aspect I wanted to highlight is when I hear your kind of engagement model with motivating teachers and working with them, and also your business model in terms of how you host the offering, I'm just wondering whether you tried to engage the actual customer, the potentially the end customer, either kind of the parents committee or students committees, because often what we've noticed in other parts of the world, they actually can motivate teachers and provide additional motivation and pressure for the teachers to undergo training. And in some countries, we see also parents contributing financially to teachers' education. And that could be a motivator both for the teacher to undergo training, but also a direct reward parents to see their student, their kids more satisfied and receiving better quality education for a relatively small additional fee. Instead of paying for private classes, you just get a better teacher in the room for everyone. So that was just a question of whether or not you tried something like that and whether you see a potential for this working for your model. And the second observation is, I think it's very interesting to see the richness and how thoughtful is your approach in terms of the delivery of the skills to the teachers and innovating in that aspect. So that's really an inspiration. And I wanted to share again a model from India that we have. It's Agastya Foundation. They're working with teachers as well, and they have focus on actually math and science education, not the languages, but on other aspects. And one thing that worked for them, and obviously that's specific to math and science maybe, but they had, along with the training of the teachers, they have a few other options. One, they had rotating pools of tools and materials for to support teaching techniques, right? So every month or so, they would deliver a box to teachers in school that would provide enough materials to entertain and educate the kids in a more real, experiential way in the classroom. And then they would retrieve that box and then pass it on to another teacher. So it was like a rotating library of tools. And I'm just wondering if something like that, and sometimes it was the teacher would provide a fee in private schools, and for public schools they delivered that for free. Another thing they did, they engaged the senior students in the school to be helpers to the teachers, and they educated not only the teachers but the students as well to be kind of teacher assistants. And that generated a lot of interest from the students in class because, well, teacher is one thing, but the senior student coming and helping them was highly motivating, and it provided skills for both the senior students and the teachers. So it's the Agastya Foundation is an interesting organization where they tried and and innovated things around the core proposition, which is the same as yours, that improve teachers' skills and complement the public service, public school curriculum and delivery. But maybe you and them, we can potentially put you in touch, and you can exchange ideas if you want, or we can just share their models with you if you're interested to look at it. So just a couple of ideas, and would like to hear your reactions. I'm
Okay,
done.
thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Natalie, for your comment. It's very encouraging. Thank you very much. Concerning the idea of the parents, I've been thinking about doing this, but again, I wanted to get in through the personal relationship with the parents themselves, because I started revising my relationships with the different schools that I have been to. And I started thinking about different parents whom I know they are already enthusiastic about such things. And lately I've got introduced to one or two parents who I believe are somehow have an effect on the school board in general, either because their kids are highly interactive at school, or they are providing some kind of financial help to the school. So I've been thinking about this, but as they say, I've been beating around the bush. I don't want to get directly into the story until I make sure that I can talk in the principal or the owner of the school first. So I can use this idea as a tool to attract the owner or the stakeholder or the principal of the school to agree to this idea of professional development. That's one point. The other point about students, we have been thinking of applying this especially in public schools, because public schools lack this idea of professional teachers, unfortunately, to a great extent. And the teachers are not motivated at all, but when the students, sorry, are not motivated at all, and when you come to the classes to meet the students or work with them on any other critical thinking topics, you find the students are so much interested, and they started providing you with wonderful ideas. So I wanted first I was checking with a number of let's say charity organizations or organizations that are directly in touch with the governmental schools, with the Ministry of Education, so they would help us to get in touch with those schools and sit with the teachers, try to talk them in, and then have a whole plan for, let's say, at least 3 months to try to take the first steps to help teachers to get to believe first in professional development, and then to start applying it, and then to help them how to do it practically, step by step in class. So when they start doing this practically in class, the students are going to get engaged. So in this case, we would be able to sit with the students and sit with the parents and try to convince them again about this idea of professional development. This is what I have in mind, and I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Natalia, I love that idea of the that the Agassiz Foundation is doing. Of the sounds sort
Yeah,
of
it's a
like
very nice idea.
the Birchbox equivalent for professional development for teachers. The subscription model will send you a cool box in the mail every month of interesting new things to try out in your classrooms. I could see that being very engaging. Alexandra, I was wondering if you have any questions or comments you'd like to share.
Sure. Thank you, Maha, for describing your business model. And so I just had what came in mind when you were talking about, oh, well, actually, when Natalia was talking about engaging parents and students, is actually another one of our participants, new from Vietnam. She's put together also a business model for her organization, which focuses on transparency and accountability in public and private schools in Vietnam. And I think this might help you a little bit with the idea of engaging with this to actually promote professional development to parents and students first. I just think that there's something to be learned between you and you. So I will be more than happy to put you in touch with her if you think that may help you. Although the topic is a little different, a lot of the reaching mechanisms seem to be similar.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I can just send you Maha an email. Maha, I don't know if New is actually watching this conversation, but I can just send you a new an email so you can both share the business model, and then I'm more than happy to facilitate that.
Thank you, Alexandra.
Sure.
Thank you.
Damaris, have you been thinking of anything while you're listening to this that you'd like to share? Any questions or comments?
Thanks, Maha. Thanks, Alan. Nothing additional from my side. I do have to say that my mom has been a public school teacher for 40 years. She recently retired, so I'm pretty familiar with all the challenges. My state in Mexico is one of the poorest states, so I really appreciate this specific example because it touches very closely to home. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Damaris.
Yeah,
Thank you, Damaris. It's surprising to know that she has been that long in the teaching business.
She started very young.
Teaching professions.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. My mom was a teacher. My partner is a teacher. I'm very familiar with it, and I'll never forget one of the statistics I learned in an educational psychology class in college was that 50% of teachers in the United States, which I'm sure I can only imagine it could. I don't know if it would be better or worse elsewhere in the world, but I'm sure it could be worse elsewhere in the world. The first year retention rate of new teachers is 50% in the United States, which means 1 out of every 2 teachers that start teaching this year will quit and not come back again the next year. And I don't remember the next number, but it's something like another 50% in the next 5 years. I think it's a very difficult profession, and the more of this sort of thing that we can do, the better. And it's a shame that there's a void that's needed to be filled in terms of public perception of it as a profession and perception by the teachers themselves of it as a respectable profession that requires support and professional development in order, just like being a doctor or a lawyer or any other profession. So really appreciate Maha. And I guess the big question that looms for me is in any place where this sort of work is being done, there's a gap of some kind. Someone else isn't filling the gap. And you mentioned that there are private organizations, TEFL providing expensive training programs. I presume the government is offering something. I'm just wondering, several of the panelists have shared examples from around the world that might inspire you, either within Egypt or coming from outside of Egypt. Who are you looking to either for inspiration, or who would you wish maybe could get more involved in helping solve this problem in Egypt with you? So maybe an example from elsewhere in the world, if there's anyone else that you would love to emulate or model, or anyone else within Egypt that you would love to see step up a little bit more in terms of this problem that you're trying to address.
Yes, thank you very much for your comments, and thank you, Alexandra. This has been highly encouraging. Concerning this idea of funding or people that we are talking to, I always believe that the problems of the country can be solved from inside more than from outside. But the problem nowadays is that we are looking for funding through a long economic crisis, which is revolving the whole world, not just our country or the third world countries. So I was thinking of maybe there are let's not say charity programs, but programs like the UNDP, for example, the United Nations developing programs. They have been doing great work during the last year in Africa, trying to help people to get to improve their learning and their lives through different educational projects. So I've been thinking of why not try to get some kind of partnership or some kind of any kind of support from these people, not only financially, but on the connections level. Sometimes when you get through a credible organization like the UNDP, you gain more respect, and you are more welcomed to do the work than if you come through any unknown organizations. So I believe that once one expert in entrepreneurship advised me. He told me, if you need fund, you have to get it from inside. Don't think of outside, or never think of outside. But with due respect, I do believe that I can get both. I can get from inside and outside, but inside is more effective because the people know exactly what's really going on. They are part of the culture, they are part of the society, so they can help at least with more enthusiasm and more passion than those from outside. But the point that I've been referring to concerning the UNDP, for example, is that they are passionate about helping people in general around the world. So they have a passion about what they are doing. It's a mission. It's a big mission. So people who are being driven by a mission help much better than those who are just giving the money for give and take, or a win-win solution.
Yeah, I appreciate your point, Maha, that the broader economic environment, not just in Egypt but around the world, means that there is simply just less funding going around in general. And it's great that you've identified potential sources of funding inside and outside of Egypt and are going for those. And also, as an entrepreneur, I know you're already on this track, and you already know very well that the best way to ensure the survival of your mission and the success of your mission and program is to find these business models, these little things that can work in terms of sustaining the work that you would like to do, with or without larger pools of money, because money also follows money. Money from investors or donors likes things that can sustain themselves better on their own, and so it's great to hear about the things that you are finding a business model around too. I want to open the floor up for anyone else to see what kinds of questions or responses you have in response to Maha, everything that Maha said in the last few minutes about funding opportunities, and also maybe creative ideas for getting that business model to work, or even just the model of delivering her program to work more. It doesn't have to be a comparison to another organization. It can just come out of your own head if you want, since we're here to generate new creative ideas together. So Natalia, I don't know if you have anything on your mind, and if not, anyone else can jump in too.
No, as I was listening to Maha and your vision for the future, I think what I missed from the business model canvas, and I think what you might want to distill for fundraising opportunities is your vision for the future and vision for scale. I think a lot of donors and a lot of investors are attracted by longer-term vision where your contributions can touch the lives of thousands of teachers and hundreds of thousands of students. I'm sorry. Christina, I think you connected. So I just wanted maybe to encourage you to think through the longer-term objective and longer-term vision that you have, with specific milestones and specific things that you feel would lead you there. And I think it will be a much, a much more appealing model that, you know, the numbers can convince investors, both public and private, and the numbers can only also convince your customers, knowing that they're contributing to to a bigger organization that has long-term objectives in mind. I think also in many social enterprises we worked with, we've seen a lot of converted teachers and converted customers contributing back and being willing to support the cause and help others. That might also be another opportunity for reaching scale, to convert them, to ask them to be your messengers and your advocates in their school and in their communities, and create a network of followers.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you completely concerning this point, but sometimes maybe I don't know, maybe sometimes we seek fund maybe not in the right place. Sometimes people tell us what you're saying is highly interesting, but we are not going to think about this such programs like educational programs now or educational projects now. Maybe later on in another stage we'll think about this idea. And this is one of the answers that we usually get concerning this point. But I agree with you completely that numbers differ with people, because when I applied for a number of funds before and they asked for definite numbers, I gave them definite numbers. But the idea is that they are more interested in industrial projects, or let's not say industrial projects, product design, the manufacture of products, rather than invest in such an idea of concerning education. These are some of the answers that we usually get. Some people, yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes they simply tell us we are not interested in social projects or educational projects. We are interested in a product selling and gaining money. We are speaking about selling and gaining. We don't want to get involved in this idea of educational or social projects. These are some of the answers that we get nowadays.
Natalia, would you like to respond to that at all, and just sort of also maybe feel free to allow? I think it'd be useful for anyone else to hear too about maybe things to keep in mind when approaching or working with larger institutional investors, and maybe if there's anything else you want to share about that could be helpful for Maha or the rest of the participants.
I think the problem with large institutional investors is that unless you tap into an existing program, it's almost impossible to get in. How to say? I think in many instances it's working through local country office and keeping an eye on opportunities that open up, and also we on our end keep flagging to our colleagues of how important this agenda is, but there are very few one-on-one investment options for us, to be honest, because it's very expensive to supervise grants. And we analyze the grant portfolio that we have, and we just can't do it on a one-by-one basis. And hence one of the reasons why we're going through the scale tools like e-learning is that we now can touch many more organizations, up to many more organizations, although not through monetary terms. But a lot of times when we gave grants, and actually in the past our grants were very small. The development marketplace grants started with $10,000, which can help some, but will not solve your challenge in any case. I think a lot of feedback we got is that more than the money itself, the organization benefited from the stamp of approval that we provided. So what we are trying to do is to help build capacity of as many organizations as we can, and provide that stamp of approval to as many organizations as we can. And I think our certificate can help potentially for you talking to donors. There will be other opportunities. I think connecting to networks of social organizations would help a lot as well. There are lots of communities of practice, and talking to your peers actually would be more helpful than talking to me in terms of how to approach investors and who to approach. I'm an international broker, to put it simply. I'm sitting here in the World Bank office, and I normally look at the big picture only, and that's why interactions with organizations like yours and your time is very valuable for me, because I start understanding issues and challenges that you face in more nuanced and intimate way. But it doesn't mean that we will be able to fund the organization on a one-by-one basis. It means that we'll be able to present your voices in a more powerful way. I know it's not solving your issue immediately, but what will be coming is potentially much more investor connect opportunities that will facilitate and things like that. In terms of immediate next step, if you wish to have advice, we have a local development marketplace coordinator that Rania, that we can put you in touch with, and just as part of the follow-up, she might be able to advise you on the opportunities in Egypt, because she's very knowledgeable about it.
Thanks a lot for that, Natalia.
Yes, I'd be thankful if you can do that. Yes, that would be great.
Go ahead, Maha. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great if I can really get in touch with her and discuss such points, and she can introduce us to some really effective people. That would be great.
Good.
I'd be thankful.
I'll follow up with that, Maha.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Alexandra or Damaris, I wonder if you have any, and Natalia too, if any of you all will do one last little round robin of closing questions or comments, things that you're leaving this conversation with that maybe this conversation surfaced or that you're leaving with today. For Maha, Maha, we'll let you say something too if you want to say one last briefing after we go around. So after our conversation for the last hour, I wonder what's on everyone's mind. What are some of the salient points or questions that you're leaving with from today's conversation? And maybe we'll start with Damaris, if that's all right.
Yeah, thanks, Ellen. I just would like to encourage Maha to take advantage of the opportunity of being in touch with other social entrepreneurs that are working in the course. I think that's super valuable, and not everyone has the opportunity to be part of a community like that. So, definitely look for other people like Alexandra mentioned, other participants that are working on similar issues. Like we also mentioned the example of Agastya Foundation. I think that's one of the most valuable things that you can get out of this. So that's all. Thank you.
Alexandra?
Thank you. If you can give me the connections like the Agastya Foundation, I'd be thankful if you can get me the connections to those people.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do. We'll follow up.
Thank you. And don't forget to ask your mother to get in touch with us. I would really appreciate talking to her. That would be great if she can get happy
the language might be a big issue, though.
Oh goodness.
You can interpret.
I'm ready for negotiations. Don't worry.
Don't worry. She's all about ESL. We'll be able to work it out.
Oh, yeah, for me, actually, just thinking about these connections, as Damaris mentioned, with the social entrepreneurs that we have in the course, you're more than happy to go through the list, and if we can help you put you in touch with more of them, that'll be great. I'll go ahead and see who else has similar projects besides you, and send you their contact information. And as Amari said, we can also send you the Agastya contact info. And I was basically left with questions.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Sure. I was basically left with questions on how actually we can, or you can promote this value added of the organization and where we can see that you can actually have the potential to fill these gaps. So actually, I'm just thinking, and I think I'm just going to think more about this and to see how this, how we can maybe help you figure this out, along with, of course, Alan's suggestions. But yeah, for me, for now, it will be more the context that we have through the course right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd be thankful, grateful if you can really give me the connections to those people. It would be great talking to them and going through their work. For sure, it would help a lot. Thank you very much.
And Natalia, anything, any last words from you? Oh, and we might have actually lost their end of the connection.
I think so.
So I'll go ahead and close unless they come back together. No more comments from DC. Okay, great. Yeah, I wanted to say that one of the points that really stood out to me, Maha, was I actually didn't know as much until this conversation about the gap that I feel like you're filling in Egypt, which is that there are these more expensive private companies providing something, and there is an absence of something being provided publicly or by the government. And it's great to see you finding a niche in between that works for you, where you actually have incredibly knowledgeable or important knowledge about where the gap is, and creative ways to plug that gap through different kinds of things than anyone else is offering, and at a different price point, like the 3-day applied hands-on workshop. That was a key point for me, that that every teacher you're talking to, you're getting this message over and over again that they're lacking opportunities for application. They don't want another theory. They want hands-on opportunities, and you're providing that. And if I were you, entrepreneurs always have this balance to strike between building long-term partnerships, maybe seeking out funding, and getting the job done, getting their organization to work, building a healthy, functioning organization that can sustain itself. And part of the reason I got inspired by the idea of social entrepreneurship in the first place is that, just like you said yourself during this course, broader economic conditions dictate the availability of funding for all of us. And generally speaking, the world is in a constrained economic environment right now. And it's always inspiring to me when I find someone who has found a way, despite the lack of availability of government funds or international funds for what they're doing, they found a way to make what they would like to do work sustainably for themselves, so that they're not dependent on the fate of a budget somewhere that politicians are writing. So I'm just leaving this with a clear impression that there is a business model that can work for you, and you'll have to choose between how much time you invest in courting potential funders internationally or locally, and building out the model of courses, workshops, recruitment, and all the things you mentioned. The more of that you can do, though, the more of the latter you can do, the more you're in control of your own fate, the more you're holding the reins of the horse. And so I wouldn't shy away from the fact that you have a business model that you can run, that can give you a foundation, and that will only make you more attractive to international funders, because they know that you have a model that scales not just in terms of the effectiveness of what you're offering, but in terms of the need for long-term support. Funders are always more interested in helping you fill a short-term gap that can get you to sustainability on your own, than they are in signing up to perpetually fund your program. So I think that's great, and I know that's always a hard balance to strike, and I hope you'll take some of the ideas and connections offered from today's discussion and see how you can run with them to the best of your ability, with all the creativity you've used to get to this point. So I've enjoyed working with you a lot during this course, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here, and I'm really hoping to see Maha ESL training advertisements on Facebook and see what new things are popping up for you in the future, and maybe read about you in The
Hopefully.
Economist in a few years.
There you go.
Hopefully. Thank you. Thank
So,
you very much.
Can I add something?
Oh,
Sorry,
please,
Alan.
please, Alexandra. Yeah, sorry, I was
Yeah,
about to
just
close.
since you were talking about Facebook and you want to see, of course, we all want to see Maha's ESL organization out there. And in relation to finance, to the numbers that investors want to see, I think that people also want, maybe it is different in for your organization, but stories that I bet you have a lot of great quotes and stories from, like the stories you told us at the beginning of the session, and this is all actually really great data to show to people, so because they see that actually your course has has some fruit, and that people are actually encouraged to get it, and when they actually apply your workshops, they are getting results. So actually these stories are another way to show you results, and that could be also another way um, to gather more investment support.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes, that has a great effect on people in general. They start thinking, so why not try? Why not try?
So just an idea.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Alexandra, for the nice point. Thank you.
Alan, to you, I guess.
Maha, we're going to draw to the close unless you have anything else to say. But I've enjoyed talking with you today.
Thank you very
What?
much, and I thank everybody. Yes.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I thank, of course, I would like so much to thank the World Bank for giving me such an opportunity. I was so much glad when I received that the mail telling me that you're accepted for the course, and but to be so interactive. But that's one of the strongest points concerning this course, is that interaction with the facilitators and with the different experts really makes a difference to what we are doing here. So I thank you very much for this. I thank Natalie. I thank Darius with us today, and Alexandria, and first of all and last, I thank you, Alan, for your great support. And thank you for the World Bank for giving me such great opportunity to be in touch with you all.
Thank you so much, and it wouldn't be possible without you, Maha. This is the fun part for us to get to learn from your perspective and see the world through your eyes. Thank you,
very much.
everybody, for making time for this today. The recording will continue to be available on YouTube. You'll be getting some additional final wrap-up emails from us in the next week or two about final steps for the course, but we're pretty much wrapped up at this point, and really enjoyed the opportunity to hear your story, Maha.
Thank you very much.
Just as a taste of some exciting things that many of the participants in this course have done. Thank you for letting us put you on the hot seat today, and to share your story. Thanks everyone for your time, and signing off now.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alexandria. Thank you, Natalie, and thank you, Darius. And thank you, Alan. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night and good day, everyone.
Good day.